People talk about divorce in relationships. Divorce happens in friendships too.
Oh, yeah. And if it's a really good friend, or you thought it was a really good friend,
Yeah.
it can be very hurtful.
Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah.
It was.
Now I'm thinking back throughout our friendship.
Starting
And
to
now I can
replay the tapes.
Let's go to the video and I replay that shit. And I'm like, you low down, dirty motherfucker, you. Fuck you. How did I allow myself to be used like that?
But now you have this thing of you ain't checking for me, then I ain't checking for you.
They don't have a life of their own
Possibly.
that can keep them busy enough to the degree of
They don't have too much time to be thinking about.
they ain't got too much time to be thinking. Then instead of you thinking about, oh, this person, Kira ain't checking me, Joe ain't checking me, Janine ain't checking. What are you doing? Because you must be bored.
It doesn't matter who the relationship you are with, whether it be with your child, your friendship, your husband. It all takes nurturing.
Yeah.
All relationships take nurturing. What that looks like may not always be the same, or it could be different because of the dynamic of a specific relationship.
The way in which we cultivate future relationships really tends to date back to how you are treated in your own family and how you nurture those relationships. And that, I think, plays a big part on how you nurture relationships with your friends, with your coworkers, with whoever.
Yeah.
It all comes back to childhood.
Cheers, ladies. Ready for another episode with the aunties. The not your average aunties, to be exact. So how was everyone's week?
Long.
It was long, but it went fast because we're here again today. Before we know it, we back here. We back at it again today, right, ladies?
We back at it. We making it happen.
Get it poppin'. So today we're delving into the lovely topic of relationships. So I actually pulled up a definition of relationships because people think about them in many different ways, right? So the definition of relationship now, or relationships plural now, the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected.
Okay.
So it says the state of being connected by blood or marriage. They can trace relationships to common ancestors, the way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave towards each other. The landlord-tenant relationship, that's just an example. An emotional or sexual association between two people. Yeah, so those are some examples, but it's really about connecting and how those connections are, whether it be with the lover, friend, mother, child, parent-child relationship, I should say, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, and just a general heterosexual friendship relationship or whatever. So do you think there's different ways in which you cultivate each type of relationship that you have, whether it be with your parent, with your children, with your spouse, with your girlfriends, with your male friends? Do you cultivate those relationships differently? And if so, how or why?
For the parent-child relationship, I think you go through evolutions of what that relationship looked like. Because when you're a kid, like, you can tend to look at your mother or father, if they're in your lives, as superheroes. So it's a different affinity. It's a different love. It's a natural love.
Okay.
Particularly if you
Hopefully
if you're nurtured in that respect. Or to the flip side, it may be tension.
Yeah.
If that's what's being nurtured from a foundational perspective. So parent is, that beginning thing, it will evolve as you realize that they are human just like you are.
Okay.
And it also...
and they realize that you're human too.
Right. When they realize that you're human too. But at the same time, I think that it'll shift and change. It'll ebb and flow.
Yes.
I think the way in which we cultivate future relationships really tends to date back to how you are treated in your own family and how you nurture those relationships. And that, I think, plays a big part on how you nurture relationships with your friends, with your coworkers, with whoever.
Yeah.
It all comes back to childhood. So if somebody did you wrong, this is my take, I'm only giving my opinion, but if someone did you wrong in your childhood, let's take money, for whatever reason, if something went wrong, you will be more like tight with your shit with your friends.
Right.
Case in point, when you go out to dinner and, you know, I'm paying for my $1.25, you know, I got $17.97. That's what I got. You know?
I only ordered French fries.
And I think that, right? And I think that that happens because you got some in your previous life. If you didn't got in your previous life, those things wouldn't even come to you. You wouldn't think about maneuvering in that. So I think that it all differs. And I think any type of relationships you have, and how you nurture it really plays a part. Your childhood and how those relationships came about, that plays a part. That's just my take.
And that's a key, because you're gonna. It doesn't matter who the relationship you are with, whether it be with your child, your friendship, your husband. It all takes nurturing.
Yeah.
All relationships take nurturing. What that looks like may not always be the same, or it could be different because of the dynamic of a specific relationship, right? So I like to look at, like, we're all mothers, we're all partners with somebody, you're a grandma, you know, so
God,
you're
don't
gonna
remind me.
so you have
Grandma, you're a granny.
I'm Mima. I'm Mima.
She's Mima. Let's be clear. So you know.
Yeah, some me. That's what they've been calling me.
That shit is no offense to the Southern, but that shit is like Southern shit.
I don't care.
You like Mima? Mima.
You didn't fall into the grandma.
No.
Okay.
I just didn't want to be called grandma.
Okay.
But it's funny now. This last year, Madison's been calling me grandma versus Mima for the first time, and I haven't corrected her. So I'm trying to get used to the word, but Mima, baby, if you're looking at this.
Call your grandma Mima, please. Okay. We all aunties and stuff, so all the relationships are important to us, but they also have ways in which we have to, like you said, they evolve, right? So you talk about how your relationships would evolve with your children. How do you think they evolve with your girlfriends? Because you have your childhood girlfriends, you have relationships that you developed along the way in your life, possibly still making new friendships today. So when you look at those friendships and cultivating those friendships and understanding, like, things change over time, how do you navigate the changes in relationships? Like, you know, people talk about divorce in relationships. Divorce happens in friendships too.
Oh, yeah. And if it's a really good friend, or you thought it was a really good friend, it can be very hurtful. Painful.
Yeah.
It was.
So how do you navigate it? The way in which I've navigated that historically, I just cut people off. And okay, so I don't.
But is it a process?
So for me, the cutoff is when I get to that point. It's not a process. It's almost like I had a revelation. Oh shit, you did me wrong.
But something's actually happening over time.
It did, but so my problem is with my friends or people I deemed my friend, and maybe I shouldn't have put them in that category, is that my loyalty is so strong in that is the one area of my life where I feel like I have a blind spot. Normally I can see through people I don't know. I see their bullshit very quickly if it's some other people that I don't know. But when it's someone I care about, I can acknowledge that I have a blind spot, and I will give them excuses or make up excuses for them.
Yeah. Too much grace is given.
Too much grace because I care about them. And I'm like, gosh,
that's my friend.
They wouldn't do that to me.
Yeah.
They're not going to think about me in that way, or they're not talking about me in that way. And the reality is, I'm sorry. I know that we
God, no. She's just trying to be slick about it, but
no, if y'all didn't catch it, but it's okay. No, this thing is funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she was trying to be slick about it.
It's okay. It was just a water bottle. But going back to what I was saying, I feel like it's a blind spot for me, and I will make excuses for that person. I would give them too much grace, and to the point where when I finally realized that they were really not my friend and they did me wrong, I personally get so enraged. And it's interesting, not so much at them at first. Right. My first part of me getting angry is at myself for fucking getting played like that, because you know better.
Right.
You know, so, and then it morphs back into oh no, I'm mad at you, bitch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at first, I'm mad at myself.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then I tend to do a lot of self-reflection, because whatever they did, whatever the catalyst for change was at that point, the way my mind goes is now I'm thinking back throughout our friendship.
Starting to
now I can
replay the tapes.
Let's go to the video and I replay that shit. And I'm like, you low down, dirty motherfucker, you. Fuck you. You know, and then I get upset. You know, I'm being honest, you know? So, but
you have a whole cursed out argument to the person that's not there.
Yeah. Yep.
For real.
Gotta get it out.
I gotta get it out. And then it depends. If I care. Let me think about this. You made a comment that you have a whole cursed out argument to the person that's not there. And then I just thought, do I actually ever articulate my thoughts to the person? And I think when it gets to that point where I'm cutting you off,
you ain't
I
worried
don't
about
say shit you no longer have access to.
Yeah. It's too late,
That's it. It's too late. Because it doesn't even make sense for me to tell you how I feel. You know what you did.
But let me ask you a question. And I guess it probably... And why you probably get to that point because you didn't realize yourself, so you couldn't even have some conversations along the way or try to address those things throughout the relationship, because it just hits you all of a sudden, and you're like, I've been dealing with this shit for a long time, never talked to them about it. So is that fair to the friendship? Like, you didn't... Or do you feel like these motherfuckers knew what they was doing? So why do I even waste my time having that conversation with them? I'm just done. Because I think in that regard, like, I go back to, people don't know that they did something wrong. You can't assume a person know that they're messing up.
Okay. So I'm not naming any names. And I would encourage you bitches not to name any names either. Right? But I will say, throughout my life, I've only had a handful of people I had to cut off. And the first immediate thought that comes to mind is about a situation where, to your point, I did try to have some sort of dialogue to talk about our friendship.
Right.
And why it shifted. And when I felt like I wasn't getting the responses, and they didn't have to agree with me. That's not what I was looking for. I found that they were unwilling to see
your side,
my side, and what I'm saying with a level of authenticity. Like, I get what you're saying, girl. It was more so defense mode. Yeah. When I knew this person, they do have the capabilities of seeing things. Now everybody goes through defense mode. Yeah. But when I'm trying to have a real down home, real talk with you, and you are deflecting, and you are not willing to do that,
or take some accountability. Like, I mean, accountability. It's like a relationship is a two-way street.
It is a two-way street. And when I found that was happening, so that also contributed to the catalyst for change. And I was like, you know what? I no longer need this. Right. And then on top of that, so now we already tried to have the conversation, but then months later, you reach out to me because you need me for something. So then we're gonna touch on that soon too. But go ahead. We're gonna touch on that. Oh, I got stories. We gonna touch on that shit, right? Yes. Because that's my pet peeve. Right. So that threw me over the edge. So then I knew you no longer have access, and that's okay, and that's fine. And now this person could easily say, well, fuck yeah, I don't, but it's no longer access. But I still was hurting because this is years of a friendship that, well, at least I thought was a friendship, right? My definition of a friendship, and it still hurts because you no longer, now I no longer interact with that. I don't even talk to that person at all, and it's like, damn, how did I allow myself to be used like that? Yeah. So again, to your point, in terms of nurturing additional friendships now, when you have that revelation, like, you got, you will move differently as you start to cultivate newer friendships, and even evaluate your other friendships. Yes. When something disruptive happens, and with one friend, and you are cognizant of it and you're paying attention, it will cause you to really think about your relationships with all your other friends, like, do an assessment maybe. At least that's how I roll. Right. Yeah. Is this bitch alright? You with me? Am I alright? No, am I? And also how I interacted with them. Did I do something that would cause them to do whatever. So
Right.
I always, that's just me. I kind of do a lot of reflection to see if I could have moved differently and maybe things would have been a little bit different.
I think you have to. So in terms of you, how do you cultivate and nurture your friendships, and when they fall to the wayside, how do you navigate that process?
If it's someone that I truly care about, I try to not react and be emotional in my responses in any situation. If it's someone that's just an associate of mine, I will always keep it cordial. I will always be respectful until that switch goes off that you switched.
Right. That they switch, not
that
you.
They switched, yes. Because now your actions is going to result in my reactions, and sometimes they don't always. I'm just knowing now that communication is important.
Absolutely.
No matter what relationship it
absolutely And I think that's the missing key. People don't realize, I don't care what the relationship is, whether it be with your mama, your papa, your child, your friend, your grandma, your lover. Communication is 100% key, so everybody can be on the same level playing field and understand how this relationship is, the dynamics of this relationship. Because I don't know, during the time during COVID and everything, yes, everybody needed to check in on everybody, see everybody was good. But now you have this thing of, you ain't checking for me, then I ain't checking for you. Listen, come on now. Our friendship has been this way. Like, I know that I have friends that I don't see for lengths of time. But when we get together, it's like no time has passed.
Yes.
And I don't feel no type of way. You got these people, you don't invite me to this and you don't invite me to that. Do you need to be at everything? And are you really going to go? You just want to be asked just for the sake of being asked. Like, you really want to go. If your friend really knows you, they know the things that you like to do, and they're going to invite you to those things. You don't like to do everything. Like, I don't like to do everything that my friends do. But if they know me well enough, and they know, like, Janine may be interested in this, so I'm going to ask her, does she want to go to this? I'm not going to ask her to go somewhere where she don't want to go. And I shouldn't be offended by that, because I know you know me as your friend. But you have these people be like, they think they're supposed to be a part of everything. That damn, what is that, mofo, what is it called? Feeling left out? What's that? FOMO. Feeling left out of everything. Like, you don't have to be a part of everything. I feel like you need to be involved in everything.
I just feel like, in that same vein, that whole, check on me, and everything. So I do check on my friends, make no mistake. But I also, there's periods where we don't speak for a long time, and there's no love lost.
Right.
To me, that's a real friend.
Because they know, they get it.
They get it because they're living their lives too.
Exactly.
And I find that the people that don't get it, and maybe this is a harsh view, but I guess if you guys have been listening to this podcast, you realize that I do have a harsh view a lot of times.
No, she don't. She be cracking up a joke here and there.
Sometimes I'm laughing. I mean that shit. Just keep it.
In the laughter, she be meaning that shit.
But I feel like the people that think about it differently, they don't have a life of their own. Possibly. That can keep them busy enough to the degree of
they don't have too much time to be thinking about.
They ain't got too much time to be thinking. Then instead of you thinking about, this person, Kira ain't checking me, Joe ain't checking me, Janine ain't checking. What are you doing? Because you must be bored. You know what I'm saying? The fuck are you doing? She said, go get a life.
No, seriously. No, it's true. Like, if you have that much time on your hands to feel like somebody's not caring enough about you because they haven't called you every day of the week. Listen, since childhood, I've never been a phone person. I am not one to get on the phone and have nothing to say to you. So that doesn't mean I don't care. That doesn't mean I'm not thinking about you. But I'm not going to get on the phone just for the sake of argument of just saying I called you.
Agreed. And I just want to clarify one thing. So when I made mention that things are not moving, we're talking about the previous situation with a friend and other friends that I've had too, where I just say I stopped giving them access to me. There are instances where, let's say I've been wronged, or I felt like I've been wronged by a friend. The stop giving access needs to be something that's really big in order for that to happen, right? But there are times where people may do things and I will have the dialogue with them, but if I really feel like they won't change, then I may still give them access, but now you're in a different position. And I hate to say it, I think in another podcast you say you don't do this, you don't categorize your friends. I do. So that means that you were once here, in this, maybe in my immediate circle, and you do some shit that's fucked up, we talk about it, you standing on your brand, you standing on your business, I'm standing on mine. I still love you, but now you've shifted positions in my life.
Right.
So I think that's perfect to me. I think it's perfectly fine.
No, I think it is
in
fine.
a different position.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not in the inner circle like I used to have. Maybe you're just in the outer circle.
Yeah.
And that's that.
At the end of the day, it goes back to what I've said many a times before. It's about protecting your peace and your space.
That's the biggest thing.
And I will continue to say that. So, I mean, I have friends, like I have childhood friends. We love each other and we're there for each other in any and every time of need. I don't see them all the time, but like I said, when we get together, it's like no time has passed. We are kikiing, like we just was chilling last week somewhere, like all the old memories. We can just sit back and we can just laugh and have a good time each and every time we get together. And I've met some other friends along the way. Like we're in that same category now. We have a history now at this point. We raise our kids together at this point. So
close to 35 years, people.
You ain't got to put the time out there now, but in any case, they don't need to know all our biz. But yeah, you know, we have, and I say our dynamic and our friendship is different than the dynamics I have with my childhood friends. And y'all probably all could say the same thing.
Yeah.
But these are, I could say collectively, these two groups of friends are my friends. And I core, right? And I have others along the way. I mean, I'm dealing with a kind of a situation now. I'm trying to figure it out, and it's like, is it me? Am I just being overly sensitive about the situation, or is this a reality? And I'm thinking more along the lines of a reality, and that I need to have this conversation to clear the air. The reason why I'm hesitant in having the conversation is because I already know what the response is going to be.
Okay.
And as much as I hate to say that, but I can almost bet somebody what the response is going to be, and that's going to be the response. And then that makes me go back and say, well, if you know what the response is going to be, one, is it worth having a conversation? And two, is it worth even continuing this relationship? Or does this person need to be put into a different category?
So it's interesting that you bring that up, and I was going to bring this up later, but maybe we need to talk about it now. And I don't know the particulars of that situation, but it jars a memory, something that's recent within my life. And I'm only a bystander in this, but I do have two friends of mine that are really close. I'm very, very, very close with them, and they are going through something. Right? Wow. So I'm a bystander. I don't want to say the outstander because I know them.
Yeah.
But they're going through something, and I feel like neither one of them are willing to have I don't want to say neither one of them. For whatever reason, they're unwilling to have the dialogue or a real down-home good conversation.
Get all the shit out.
Get your shit out, right? And I wonder if it's because of what you just said. I already know what's going to happen. But do you really know what's going to happen? Because it may be a revelation that person could bring to you that you might be like, wow. And then the other piece I would not challenge you, but just say, if you do decide to have the conversation, because I've been encouraging both of them to have the conversation, is being receptive to whatever they're telling you. And I think sometimes it's one thing to try to have a conversation, but if you keep it surface level, that's not going to do shit. You really need to like dig to the deep and then figure out how do we get here,
right?
And then be willing, whatever that person is telling you. Don't dismiss it, because sometimes we can have these conversations. You don't really, man, you only said that because of da. And it's just like, no, maybe that's what they've been feeling all along.
What I'm thinking when you say be ready to hear what they're saying to you, I'm thinking be ready to hear what they're saying to you, because this is going to determine your next steps in that relationship as well. It's not just accepting, it's going to determine your next steps in that relationship. So let's talk about we talked about friendships. Like you talked about the person just taking. So their relationships are categorized in different ways, right? Or how people interact are categorized. And I learned this from a retreat I went to last year. So you have friends, you have socially connected friends, you have emotionally connected friends, and you have functionally connected friends, and there's definitions for each of those types of friendships. So a socially connected friendship is a type of friendship primarily served as playfellows. They enjoy spending time together, engaging in social activities, and sharing experiences. So these friendships are often based off of common interests, things you like to do. Hey, I'm a brunch girl, you a brunch girl, we all we do is go to brunch, right? So then you have an emotionally connected friend. These friends focus on emotional support and nurturing. Friends in this category provide empathy, understanding, and a safe space to express your feelings. That's the person that you can go and you can just let everything out, and it's gonna stay with that person, and vice versa. If you're reciprocating that type of friendship, so and be mindful. All these things are not always reciprocated through the two parties, right? So then you have the functioning collective friendship. In this type of friendship, serve as a practical resource. They help each other with specific tasks, such as providing advice, lending a hand, or offering expertise, sharing knowledge.
Okay.
So
those are associates, though. I don't think.
You don't think they're friends? But okay, so those are three definitions.
those are three definitions. Those are the three that I had.
Okay, so but could a friend function in all three capacities?
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted, because there can be
They can overlap.
they can overlap depending on what.
Yeah. So if you took your 10, let's just say 10 for argument's sake, you can put each one of those friends in one of those categories, or they can be in multiple areas.
Yeah.
So
I like the fact that those are the categories that you've outlined and defined for us, and I think that
I think it was missing a category. You
Which
ride or
is?
die. The one that all you gotta do is make that phone call.
I think that's the emotionally connected
that might be
friend.
emotional connected one.
Okay.
You don't think so?
Because the ride or die one to me is not just emotional. They're all about loyalty too.
It don't matter what you did, whether you right or wrong.
Yeah.
You call
they,
them.
They
and
rocking.
They rocking.
They rocking. Like you two.
But I want my ride or die friend to tell me,
I'm
bitch,
bringing
you
the shovel
wrong.
and the
No, I
bags
want my
and the duct tape.
But Lord,
But you want your ride.
I want my ride or die friend to tell me you're wrong.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah. So
let's take this. Let's
Go ahead.
rewind it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was in a situation. Oh my gosh, you just triggered a memory. I was in a situation. Take me back to teenage. You're talking about 30 plus years,
Yeah.
right? Over 30 years, where I got into a situation. Listen, bitches always wanted to pick on me.
Oh God.
You know? Anyway, I got into a situation. These girls were gonna try to do something, right? And my one of my BFFs, she rode with me, ride or die. Now, here's the catch. Let me take 2 steps back. Actually, it was my cousin that was getting into it, and because I was the pop off with the mom. I think y'all know that. So my cousin was getting into something, and I was trying to defend her, which leads to me getting into something. So my ride or die BFF, who's still a BFF to this day, call her, she there. Don't even know the circumstance. Now, after the fact, right? Now, even though I used to pop a lot of shit when I was younger, I still pop shit now. But I could always back it up. But I would be, in all fairness, I would be one to really try to diffuse the situation if I could.
Okay.
First, that was my
That's your first.
go-to. If I could. Now, if I couldn't, then we got to go. Then we got to go. But if I could, I would. Fast forward, we get out of the situation because I was able to diffuse it. But my BFF was there. Now we all sitting in the house and we chilling, and she said to me, and I'm sorry if my cousin sees this now, but she said to me, she goes, "I was riding with you. To your point, ride or die." She said, your cousin, fuck her. Basically,
she ain't my friend.
No, real talk. And no, she was like, but
that's
I'm
real
riding
though.
with you. That's a real sentiment.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so she was like, I was riding, and then she was like, now if it would have busted up something, then when she heard the reasons why, because she knew nothing. All she knew was like, yo, I'm da-da-da, I'm going to be right there. And then when I told her what unfolded, she was like, man,
what you call me into, girl?
So I think obviously those are childhood situations.
Yes.
As an adult, you really shouldn't be having those types of situations. But if things happen, it happens. The ride or die now as an adult, and even this girl friend of mine, we all matured. So even now, before we get into, she'll be right there.
Yeah.
But she's gonna be the one that's we're gonna talk to each other.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like, same way if she gets into something,
Right.
I'm like, hey, did you think about this? Did you think about that? So we would try to talk to each other, and I'm going to hold her accountable. Like, what's your accountability in this situation?
Right.
Like, how did it get here?
Right.
So I think with that ride or die definition, I think there needs to be some sort of person that will challenge you in a way to make you think a little bit differently about your situation.
Yeah.
Or try to. She's not buying it. I can tell by her face. She's like, bitch, why?
But that goes back to, like, the whole dynamic of friendships. Like, people often don't sit back and ask that question, what did I contribute to get us here to this point? Like,
yeah.
like you talk about how you started peeling back the layers of what was going on in your friendship, and your accountability was like, I didn't check this chick a long time ago.
I didn't.
And I let this shit ride and ride. But people don't often do that. They be like, they fucked up. It's just dumb. It's all their fault. I ain't had nothing to do with that. Yeah, you were in that relationship too.
Yeah, no.
And that goes like friendship. That goes
absolutely
any relationship. Like, so when I look at relationships in either of the categories, there are so many similarities to how we nurture, cultivate any of our relationships, whether it be with your parents, your child, lover, or friend, or whatever have you. So I look at relationships across the board as they all need to be cultivated, they all need to be nurtured, they all need to be respected, they all need to be reciprocated. And reciprocation does not always mean the same thing. Like, people think that because I give you $100, you got to give me $100 and we're even. No. I can give you an act of service.
That's correct.
Like, and people don't look at those two things. They look at it, oh, I gave them something monetary, I gave them something materialistic or something like that. Meanwhile, if I'm chauffeuring your ass around because you ain't got no way to get to where you got to go, that's my time. That's my act of service. Yeah, I may not have $100 to give you whenever you want it, but I'm giving you my damn time and I'm using my gas or whatever have you. And it's like, people don't equate those. They don't think they're the same, and they kind of are.
But it also depends on who you're dealing with, because I'm gonna use us as an example. There's times I'm usually the one that's driving all the time.
Because you like to drive, and we don't mind.
Exactly. For years up until now, I was always the designated driver. Because
the bitch didn't drink as much.
Exactly. I said she don't drink as much as we do either.
We gonna put the shit out there.
She don't drink as much as we do.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We're gonna keep it a buck up in here.
But because I drive, I don't always ask for gas money. They offer it to me. And
it's the right thing to do.
And I get that, but because you guys are so important to me, sometimes it just doesn't bother me that I'm the one driving.
Yeah.
So that's just something I wanted to
We grown like that. We know how to treat our friends.
I don't like friends that start keeping tabs. You know, what we did for each other.
Right.
Because I'm naturally, and this is why I get myself in situations, I'm a giver. Right? So I'm gonna encourage you. I'm going to I like to see you win,
right?
As much as you don't necessarily have to be my friend for me. That's just who I am. I like to encourage you. I like to be like, you can do this, you can achieve it. So for me to be giving, whether it's advice, whether it's monetary, whether it's whatever, I'm not keeping track on what I did.
Right.
The only time that ever comes up is when I get to the point where you lose access and I start rewinding the tape, and I'm like, well, god damn.
Right.
You know, this is so basically because I was giving, they would just takers. And the thing with takers are most times they have no boundaries. They're going to keep there's no ending to the taking. They're going to keep taking from you.
But that goes back to the giver taking accountability. And people have to really look at how there's two sides to all this, always, because the person that's taking sometimes is like, do they even realize that they're takers? And I'm condoning, but your bottom dollar they do. But I think there are sometimes that they like, this person's gonna keep giving to me. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna keep taking because they want to keep. It's not saying it's the right thing to do.
I know, but that energy sometimes will come out.
Yeah,
they may not say it out loud, but their actions speak otherwise.
Because it's gonna be one day.
I see how you roll.
Yeah, because it's gonna be one day that you ain't offering, and they're gonna be expecting it. And then when they expect it and you ain't do it, you gonna see. You're like, well, I thought you was. No, not today. So
the other thing with this is, and also the reason why I tend to categorize my friends is because we do have different friends for different reasons. Prime example, my friends that are in corporate America, I could talk to them about my corporate America shit.
Because they get it.
My friends that are entrepreneurs and have always been entrepreneurs, they may over time understand what happens, but like the details, they may not get. So sometimes I share and sometimes I don't, right? It depends on whether I want to do the education piece, like, okay, well, I'm doing this, and having to go through that whole dialogue. Equally, there are friends, as I've said this a million times before, I'm an ambitious person. I have my day ones who happen to be ambitious as well. So we feed off of each other.
Right.
So they would be the friends where historically, and I know this is typically taboo, but historically, I would share, like we would talk about our salaries and everything like that, because we feed off of each other. We talk about those things. And we're all ambitious, and we're like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, whatever. And naturally, within that dynamic, my day ones, some of them are in corporate America, some of them are entrepreneurs and have been entrepreneurs for over 20 years, right? So with that being said, it's that feeding. Yeah. You know, you can have the dialogue about salary. Yeah. There's reasons why I would not share salary with other friends, because they can't take it. And that has happened to me. Yes. Where I've shared and it's not to boast. Yeah. We were just having a conversation and I shared, and they started questioning when I say back, you know, this is back then, and I was like, damn, I ain't got no money. And because I shared, they were like, how the hell you don't got no money? You know, and I'm like, bitch, I got 4 kids in private school. So whatever, because I didn't realize it, that they were storing the information and they tend to use it against you. So when you have a dilemma and you have a problem, they're like, how the fuck you got a problem? Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? But I didn't see it when you're in the friendship. And again, when you get out of it and you start to reflect, you like, okay, so now what I thought was a friendship was really a person that was a taker, but also
calculating.
Say that again?
Calculating.
Manipulative.
Jealous.
That was the biggest thing, the jealousy piece, the envious piece. And there were things that were happening historically that I did not see, and then when I replay comments that were made, and it's just like, again, that was my blind spot. Yeah, you know, that I would say. So I think there's certain conversations you can have with certain people, and also too, when I start to exercise my creativity and do different things that are outside of the box that certain people can't understand, because they only see you in one lens, even your friends, right? So they only see you in one lens. So when you start moving differently, they natural reaction, and I think maybe this is a human reaction, because not necessarily for me, but if it ever festers in me, I try to challenge it. It's like when someone does something differently, you start questioning it, but in a negative manner, like, you can't do this. Yeah, you can't do it. Why?
Or they back away. They stop engaging with you. They don't even want to have nothing to do with you. The communication starts to get a little less and less, and you know that goes to a whole other part of support, so to speak. But I also. It's funny because I heard Oprah say the other day, they were talking, you know, everybody keep talking about her and Gail being gay. Yeah. But the thing that I got from that thing was she was saying, you cannot have jealous friends. They'll never support you. They'll never cheer you on. They'll never have your back. That's true. Because they're just too busy being jealous of you. So I thought that was like a really good, like I said, it was timely when I heard that, because I knew we were going to have this conversation again. Not to say we wasn't going to talk about it, because we were, but it was just a timely thing that popped up on my timeline this week. And it's very true. You can't have jealous friends, and sometimes you don't know those friends are jealous, but you gotta until you notice it.
And then start being what's that, Downy Susie Downing,
Debbie Downers.
Debbie
She said Downing Susie.
Susie is usually the Debbie Downer.
Yes.
The negative Nelly. Negative Nancy, actually.
Susie. You understand?
Yeah.
But so the other thing too, I will say, is that with the whole categorizing the friends is, there's a saying that says the 5 people that you mostly associate yourself with will show you exactly how far you'll go in life, right? And I really truly believe that. Yeah. When I get on the phone, because my BFFs, they live far from me. So when I get on the phone with them and we can kiki it up or just talk about strategy, business, whatever, we fluctuate between all of it. Right. I get revved up. It's something that they turn on in me, and equally I turn on within them, right? So that forces me to keep up with my creativity and doing the things that is outside of the box, but things that I need to do because it does something for me. Okay.
They're supporting you. They're reinforcing the things that you're thinking and wanting to do.
When I found that certain friends don't necessarily support me in that manner, and I had to figure that out, I had to find that out, that's when I have to put them in another category, right? Because they don't get it. And And maybe because in the beginning it's like, oh, she's doing something. What's she doing?
Right.
You know,
She doing something else. She doing another thing. How many things she gonna do?
No,
I'm gonna do all the things. I'm gonna do all the things that I want to do.
I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna do all the things that I want to do because it's my life and I want to live a fulfilled life. And I still feel I'm here for something greater than whatever I'm talking about.
Absolutely,
right now. So
absolutely.
Just because, and I realize you cannot bring everybody with you.
Absolutely not.
And it's their choice. It's not that I'm not reaching back and saying, hey, you want to do this? Because y'all know me, I'm always reaching to say, hey. It's the person, whether they want to join.
They coming along. They'll be right on that ride, on that train with you. Yeah, because I'm going.
Because when I wait, and then again, I take it back to the 5 people you surround yourself with. When you surround yourself with people that are a little bit less ambitious or whatever your values are, naturally you're going to default to the person that has the lowest common denominator. So what I mean, I'm gonna use the ambitious thing. You have people that are ambitious. This one is a go-getter. This wants to have a promotion and job. This one wants to grow their business, whatever. And this one just wants to start a t-shirt business. Right? They're just starting. Naturally, if you are in that setting, if you're not talking about it enough, the lowest common, you kind of, even the person that's up here, you might be brought back down to, well, maybe I don't have to hit $500 or $1 million in my business. Maybe this is enough. You tend to gravitate to the person with the lowest common. I've seen that happen within myself.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen when I'm navigating and dipping into different categories of the friendships where I will let someone, even if they say a question, well, what?
Start doubting.
They plant the seeds of doubt. And then I don't make the move that I was destined to make, that I should have made, and now and I'm only gonna get mad at myself. I can't get mad at that person.
Absolutely. It goes back to accountability.
But it goes back to that accountability piece. I guess what I'm trying to say, if you are around the wrong people, it can really negatively impact your ability to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I really try to. I guess it's unhealthy connections, right? Unhealthy, and not to say those people are bad for you, but you just have to, again, to your point, protect your peace.
Right.
So if it becomes that something that they said is unhealthy for you, because that shit can cause harm.
Right.
Yes.
So we had, and I believe we touched on this, but we had a question from a listener. Is there a lifespan of childhood friendships? And we kind of touched on it. How do you navigate growing up and apart for those that were truly best friends?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
My oldest friend is 48 years.
That's a long time.
48 years this year. She's the one she knows all my skeletons, pretty much. We don't get to see each other all the time, but when we do, as you said, it's like no time has ever passed.
Yeah.
Anytime we get on the phone, I'm looking at 3 hours minimum.
Right.
Just talking.
Yeah. I love catching up. Catch up is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
It is. Religion, I guess, plays a role in, I guess, the distance, because she's a diehard church goer. And I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. We were still able to be friends. But I don't go as much anymore. Well, I don't go at all. I'm
church
still
is in
trying
here.
Yes, church is in here. I do believe in God. But I'm still questioning certain things. So in that realm, I don't go to church every Sunday as I should. But that doesn't change how I feel about her. Both of us are ride or die.
Okay.
If I called her, she would be up here.
Okay.
And vice versa. So I'm going to try to keep that relationship, because she's my oldest. We went through elementary, junior high, and high school together, and we remained friends.
That's awesome.
Because once you graduate high school,
I know they talk about that, right?
There's a transition there.
Yeah.
That one get together as an adult, where there's drinking involved, changes a lot. And now you know whether or not they can be your friends going into your adult chapter, or they will remain. I used to go to high school with that person. So
all of my childhood friends still extremely close with, and you guys as well, and some that I've gained after, through work or whatever. As far as high school friends, I have friends that we talked in school. We didn't. I think
Yeah.
maybe one time we got, or maybe two times we got together outside of school. And of those friends, I still, we still reach out occasionally, but it's mostly through social media. But we're connected through there, so I can't really say I had friends from childhood that have cultivated a relationship that where we hang out, we get together with our families and stuff like that. We all have children. And I think some of them they even have grandchildren as well. So we stay connected that way. But most of my friends came from my neighborhood where I grew up, where I lived at, and through, relationships with my children and my ex, their father and stuff like that. So those relationships are still cultivating. I have a friend that it happens to be the same friend that I talked about earlier, that I had to put them on a timeout one time. Like, I literally, so we talk about divorcing friends can get put out on timeout as well. And I had to put this person on a timeout because I was being emotionally drained. And it's because they were being emotionally drained. So whatever they were being emotionally drained, they was putting that on to me, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't take this on. So I had to put them on a timeout, and we had a conversation about that.
Okay.
And so I believe friends can go on timeout.
It's fair.
And divorcing friends is fine too. It's necessary sometimes.
I'm a believer that just because they're an old friend don't mean that they're a good friend.
Very true.
Because sometimes there's the animosity sometimes they low-key haters.
Yes.
And again,
they stick around.
They stick around because I knew you for so many years, but you're relying on length of time rather than good substance.
Yeah.
Right? There's no substance.
And they're sticking around to hate and be nosy and figure out what they can hate on you about.
What do you figure out what they can hate on you about, trying to figure out something like that. So, and with that being said, like, I have old school friends where that people that I know the same length of time as my day ones. And one instance when I bought my house, and we were all in our 20s, and I bought my house, and this one particular friend, I invited that person up a million times. I've had my house for over 20 years. They've yet to come up, and I think it had to do with the fact that that person wasn't in that spot at that time. And the only reason why I default to that is because I just know the way this person was raised. And this person was raised in a matter, and hats off to how they were raised, in that they could do no wrong. They were put up on a pedestal. This person was you. So I love the fact that their parents spoke life into them, but it was almost to the fault of they forgot that there's a level of reality. That just because. So let me just give one other element of this individual. This other individual growing up, if they were the shit, nobody
can. They were, or that's what they thought.
No, they were.
Okay.
They had everything.
Okay.
Their parent, the people that were governing them at the time gave them everything. They wanted for nothing. So that was the place we hung out. That was the place where. But then is a short-lived time, because then we start growing differently, different interests, different things, and I feel like because they were raised that way, and I noticed that their circle of friends, they always had to be the one on top. Yeah. So when I saw their circle of friends as we became adults, and I got married and whatever, I would go and hang out with that person. And let's be clear, socially, they're a good motherfucking time. They're a good time, But when we talk about substance, I realized that of all their friends, they still had to be
very
here.
superficial.
They had to be here, and they all had to be here.
So they probably sought friends out purposely,
even subconsciously. I don't even know if they realize that. I don't even know. So
that goes back to my earlier comment about sometimes people who are takers don't always necessarily see themselves as takers, because they don't have that inner, what do you call that, self-accountability. Something that ticks for them. They don't have it. So it's just so now I no longer invite, because once I extend it, it's done. We do speak from time to time, but it's mostly on socials. But I just realized that what I was giving wasn't being reciprocated, in the sense that I want to be where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. Absolutely.
So if I get any inkling of you're not really feeling picking up what I'm putting down, then I'm done.
What do I need to be here for?
Well,
I could be someplace else. Right. Exactly.
And this is why my circle of friends is small.
But see, I'm not opposed to I can make friends.
Yeah, I don't have a problem meeting new people.
You know?
I don't have a problem hanging out with new people, provided that I've gotten to know them, to know whether or not my mentality is safe around them when we're out. Because you guys all know I was the one that always popped off and asked questions later. So now that I'm
the irrational
open,
one.
Yes. So now that I'm open to meeting new people and getting to know new people, me hanging out with you is another level. Once I've met you in a group setting, I've gotten to know you, then I'll know whether or not I can hang out with you. Yeah. That's just me.
I see what you're saying. I think the older I get, the more I need harmony and peace.
Absolutely. And that's, yes. Because that was what I was going to say kind of in closing out this topic was that, like, we're at the age that we're at. Mm-hmm. We have the friends that we have. We're continuing to cultivate and nurture those relationships. Mm-hmm. Is there room for more relationships in your life? And are you being more mindful of the people that you are bringing into your life or entertaining to say, okay, maybe this person, they're not a friend now, but maybe they could be a friend at some point in my life? Because I think that's another very important thing. People are too quick to call people friends. And they're not vetting them long enough. So I vet people for quite a bit of time before. I think I've only met one person as in the most recent years to say that I can say this person is my friend in a short amount of time. And that's because we think alike. When we talk, we have conversations. She sees what's in me and I see what's in her. So I was able to say, okay, this person is a friend to me. And I don't think I've ever done that ever really in my life, but this person just was very genuine. But are you open to new friendships, and what are you looking for in these new friendships, knowing where you're at in your life right now and what you need in your life and in a friend?
I'll let you go first because I don't want to dominate the conversation.
No. I don't know if I'll be able to find the level of love and respect that I have for you ladies here. But I am willing to meet new people. I'm hoping at some point, once we get to know each other, it could be a relationship that's cultivated into for a long time to come. But I'm still going to be mindful of who I bring into my circle now. Because I'm not, and that's something else that I'm working on, I'm not trusting for everyone.
That's fine.
You shouldn't.
And you're not supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I have. Listen, I'm open to new friendships and I don't mind that. What I do know is like what I will not tolerate now versus probably what I tolerated back then. My patience is a lot shorter. What I need in my life and for my life right now, if you're not fitting into that piece of the puzzle, then we can keep you, as an associate, as somebody I know. We see each other in passing or whatever have you. It's okay, but I'm not quick to say somebody's my friend, with the exception of this one person. But
And it's funny, I never did that.
I'm surprised. I can tell you, I'm surprised at myself. But this person has, in every interaction, has not shown me anything different yet. And I can't say that I made a mistake just yet. So, and I feel good about that because it's
that's a good thing.
I've always been slow to put a person in the friend category, and I think that confuses people because I'm always willing to help. They mistake. A rando. Because again, I just like to see people win. But just because I'm helping you in that respect does not mean you're my friend, because I don't really know you. I'm always open to meeting new people and engaging in conversation, because you just never know. I'm always fascinated about
different mindsets,
mindset and how people think. And
well, here's to friendships. Here's to ours. And to those out there,
and they're not friends, they're my sisters.
We're sisters.
Till next time.
Peace.